Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Nama om Vishnu padaya Krishna preshtaya bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I welcome all the devotees for today's Bhakti Shastri class. Today is the Ishopanishad last part, that is the shloka number 15 to 18. So here this is about the prayers to the absolute truth. Shri Shri Radha Govind ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Today is the sixth lesson, 15 to 18, four shlokas. These are the sections that we have seen. First three mantras. One must live in harmony with the Ishvara, otherwise he will be punished. And then for living in harmony with the Ishvara, we should understand who is Ishvara first. That is 4 to 8. And we can understand Ishvara only through the spiritual vision. Then comes the process, how to understand the Ishvara. That is 9 to 11, the right kind of Vidya, how we have to use the Avidya and practice the Vidya to understand the Lord. And also the Upasana in 12 to 14, the worship. We should worship the Lord, and what is the right and wrong worship, and what are the consequences of wrong worship. All these things we have seen. And today's part is prayers to Ishvara to reveal himself. Now, what is the need of praying? So, whatever spiritual practice we may make, our perfection in the spiritual life is depending on the prayer that we do for the Lord. We ourselves will not be able to go back to Godhead. Our capacity is very, very small. We are only making an attempt or following the instructions of the spiritual master. But at the same time, if we are not praying to Krishna, then we are not going to succeed, because we are very, very small as compared to the spiritual abode of Lord Krishna. Spiritual perfection, it is not in our hand. So both are needed. One side, we are trying to understand the Vidya and the right kind of Upasana and the need for spiritual understanding and living in harmony with Ishvara. These all are attempts from our side. Now in the last part, we are just praying to the Lord. Oh Lord, please be pleased with my devotional service and show yourself to me. Unless this prayer is there, the spiritual life, the spiritual practice remains incomplete. We can take the example of Yashoda Mata binding Lord Krishna. When Krishna he was running, Yashoda Mata could not catch him. But out of mercy, Lord Krishna allowed her to catch him, because Krishna, nobody can catch him if Krishna runs. Even yogis also cannot catch. Then what is the question of catching him by anybody else? But out of love, the devotion Yashoda had for Krishna, because of that, Krishna allowed her to catch him. Now she wants to bind. Now binding, again, Yashoda is making all the effort, bringing all the ropes at home, everything she brings, but still she is not able to do it. Finally, Krishna looks at her effort, then he agrees to get bound. Then she could bind him. That means even though we have very sincere effort for catching Krishna, he will not be caught unless he himself desire to be caught. Now this is the 15th, the last part, 15 to 18 is that part of Ishopanishad where the Jiva is praying to the Lord, Ishvara. Originally, we have seen this Ishopanishad is the prayer that the Swayambhuva Manu is doing for the incarnation of the Lord called Yajna. Now there are two parts in this, 15 and 16. Take me beyond the white light to the Supreme Person, and 17 to 18. Take me through all the obstacles of conditioned life to you. The 15 to 16, it is talking about Brahma Jyoti. What is Brahma Jyoti? Brahma Jyoti is the transcendental light or the effulgence that is around the body of the Lord, in which all the impersonalists desire to merge so that they can lose their personal identity. And this white light is a covering for the Lord. For a devotee, he is not interested in that. This Brahma Jyoti, he is asking to remove it so that one can see the Lord personally. Now at this point, we can understand why Ishopanishad is making a prayer. So whom we are able to pray? We are able to pray to the Lord or to the person. We cannot pray to anybody else. So by this also we can say that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a person. He is not a impersonal aspect. And we are begging for his mercy. And it is also saying, show me your form. That means the Lord is not formless. So this is revealed in the conclusion of Ishopanishad. And take me through all the obstacles of conditioned life. That is, whatever comes in my life, please remove all of them and help me to come to you. That is the prayer. So this is the 15th chapter, 15th shloka. Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukham tattvam poshana pavrino satya dharmaya drishtaye. O my Lord, sustainer of all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. Here you can see the sustainer of all lives. The Lord is the sustainer. The word Pushan. Pushan means the one who is the maintainer. Poshan. We say in Hindi, we say Poshan. In Sanskrit, it is Pushan. That is the only difference. So Lord is the maintainer of everyone. And reveal your face. Your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Please remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. So this also shows that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is not impersonal. He is a person. Because we are asking him to remove the dazzling effulgence so that we can see him. Now, the problem to see the face of the Lord is not darkness here. It is the light. The light also can become an obstacle. Generally, we understand if there is light, we can see everything. But the same light, if it becomes too much, that also can become an obstacle in our vision. In the very dark night, if there is sudden light comes, then our vision gets blocked. We cannot see anything. Or if the brightness of the light is too much, then we cannot see the things around us. So that is the brightness of Brahman effulgence. So please remove that effulgence so that I can see you. What other things are there in this 15th shloka? You can see the breakup here. There are totally 10 paragraphs. In the first paragraph, it is telling Pushan, that is, Krishna is the basis of Brahman and Paramatma. Brahman realization and Paramatma realization. Bhagavan realization is the ultimate. That is explained in the first paragraph. You can see the Bhagavad Gita shloka here, 14.27. Brahmano hi pratishtaham amritasya avyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhait aikantikasya cha. The Lord is the I am the basis. He is the basis for impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. So the Lord is the basis for the Brahman realization or Brahman platform. Here, when we see that the Brahman realization, at that point, the Lord is there already. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, all the three aspects are same, one and the same. From if you are seeing from the Lord's side, but only for us the realization is partial. We have understood him partially. In another week, we can take the example when we have a gulab jamun. We get the fragrance of the gulab jamun, which can be converted compared to Brahman realization. And we are able to see the gulab jamun, that is Paramatma realization. And when we taste the gulab jamun, that is Bhagavan realization. So when we get the fragrance of the gulab jamun, it doesn't mean that the fragrance which is coming, it doesn't have gulab jamun there. Gulab jamun is there. Vision is also there. But I am getting only the fragrance aspect of it. Or if you say the sunlight, sun globe, and the sun god. So when we are seeing the sunlight, it means that behind sunlight there is sun globe, the sun planet, and the sun god also. Both are there. But I am only getting the one aspect of it. So when we say Brahman realization, that is an effect of Bhagavan himself. So Bhagavan includes Brahman and Paramatma. When a person realizes Bhagavan realization, when he comes to the Bhagavan realization, it includes the realization of Brahman as well as Paramatma. So therefore, what is the highest realization? The one which is all-inclusive. That is the Bhagavan realization. When a person comes to the Bhagavan realization, it is complete. And he has unlimited potency. That is explained in 10.42 in the Vibhuti Yoga. After explaining everything, all the Vibhutis one by one, Krishna finally says, Athava bahunetena kim jnatena tavarjuna vishtabhyahamidam krishnam ekamshena stito jagat. By one fragment, what Krishna says here, with a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. That is, Krishna is telling here. So just by one fragment of myself, I am able to support the entire universe. This is the Bhagavan realization. When we understand who is Krishna, then that is the Bhagavan. And that is the highest. And he is the maintainer of all. Pushan. He is the maintainer. Satya Dharmaya Drishtaye. How Krishna reveals himself beyond the Brahman. So when we pray to the Lord mercifully shows himself so that we can understand how great he is. That is Anandamayo Abhyasat. Brahman realization, it is the Sat potency. That means eternal. It is always existing. And Paramatma realization is Chit potency. That is complete knowledge. And Bhagavan realization is Ananda potency or the bliss, Satchit Ananda. So when we really get the happiness of seeing Krishna, that is in the Bhagavan realization, the absolute truth. Next, last 6 to 10, here it is explaining how the ultimate revelation of Bhagavan comes only by Bhakti. So only we can understand Bhagavan by Bhakti. Bhaktamam abhijanati. Only Bhaktas can understand. Only the devotee can come to the realization of Bhagavan. Here it is told, the 10, 12, 11. Ittam satam brahma sukhanubhutya dasyam gatanam paradaivatena maya shritanam naradarakena sakam vijaruhu krita punya punja. So who will understand the Lord as he is? The one who is krita punya punja, that is the covered boys. The paragraph you can read here, 96 page number in my book. This is the 15th shloka. The personality of Godhead, who is perceived as the impersonal blissful Brahman by jnanis. One who is a jnani, one who is a jnana yogi, he is thinking that the personality of Godhead is impersonal and blissful, and who is worshipped as the Supreme Lord by devotees in the mode of servitorship. And how the devotees are worshipping the Lord? As the Dasya, and who is considered an ordinary human being by mundane people. For ordinary people, Krishna is also ordinary. For those who are mundane, they will think that Krishna is he is like any other person. And played with the coward boys who had attained their position after accumulating many pious activities. So these are the people who can understand Krishna, who will come to the Bhagavan realization of the Lord. So that is the Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan realization. And Prabhupada explains the importance of Bhakti. Vishnu, here. First he will explain what are the different rasa, the Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhurya rasa. These are the different rasas in which the devotees can understand Krishna. And understanding Bhagavan feature is not possible by our tapasya. The Bhagavan feature includes the pastimes of the Lord, the opulence of the Lord, which is only understood by hearing from the pure devotee who is already in the liberated state. And in Brahma Samhita, it is told, Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti kotishvashesha vasudhadi vibhuti bhinnam tad brahma nishkalam anantam ashesha bhutam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So here, this is the realization of absolute truth. And also it is told, Hiranmaye patre koshe virajam brahma nishkalam. This is the Mundaka Upanishad. The similar shloka is given here. Here also it is telling that please remove the covering, that is the material covering, which is unlimited Brahman effulgence. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada is explaining how a person has to come to the Bhagavan realization. So the conclusion is that one who has no knowledge of the potencies of the Lord, truth will realize the impersonal Brahman. Okay, this we'll understand by a chart. Hiranmayena patrena, golden effulgence covering, satyasyapi hitam mukham, truth covered face. Your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself. Okay, those who would like to read can raise their hand. Deepti Mataji.
Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam. The living entity should never be considered the all-powerful supreme truth. If he were the supreme, he would not need to pray to the Lord to remove his dazzling cover so that the living entity could see his real face. Mantra 15 purport. Shri Prabhupada Ji ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. So what is the need for prayer here? If the living entity is all powerful, then there is no need to pray. So the Upanishad is also praying to the Lord means it is, we can understand that the Lord is a person and he is the supreme personality of Godhead and we will never be equal to him. Sureshwar Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
The demons who are killed by Krishna, they are immediately transferred to this Brahman effulgence. So just imagine the place which is given to the enemies of Krishna is that very covetable thing. Ishopanishad lecture, Los Angeles, May 18, 1970. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So Prabhupada is asking this question to all of us. Krishna is giving this Brahman realization or becoming one with Brahman even to the enemies. Then what to speak of devotees? Why devotees has to go to Brahman realization? What is real bliss? That is Bhagavan realization. Because if we are only satisfied with Brahman realization, then it is incomplete and there is a chance of fall down. So one must perform bhakti and go back to Godhead. Now here is a chart in which different yoga systems are explained. So what are the benefits of performing all this? And we can understand what is the glory of bhakti. Sankhya, the Sankhya analysis is very basic, where it will explain absolute truth as the elements of material world. So what we can understand from Sankhya, we will understand how this material world is made. There are 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. And these 5 elements will give out the 5 tanmatras, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. And for consuming these 5 elements, 5 tanmatra, we have 5 senses: eyes, nose, ear, tongue, skin. Like that, it divides everything into 5. So this is like elements of material world. We just try to understand through the Sankhya. But Sankhya should end up in the Bhakti. Then it is complete. Then what is the benefits of understanding Jnana? In Jnana, absolute truth without potency, we are going to, one is able to realize. So what kind of Jnana it is? This is the Jnana of spiritual science, where the person is able to understand the temporary nature of this material world and the presence of the spiritual world. When we understand this Jnana, that means the light of knowledge, all our ignorance, the darkness of ignorance is removed, so that the person will come to the understanding of Sat feature of the Lord, Brahman feature of the Lord. Sat means ever existing, eternal. Till here, earlier, whenever we understand the material world is incomplete and it is not permanent. It keeps on changing. But when we understand the Brahman effulgence or Brahman realization, we get that Sat feature which is always existing. Then yoga means the Ashtanga yoga here. Absolute truth only with the material potency. The energy of the Lord, the potency of the Lord is exhibited in the Paramatma feature. The Paramatma, the yogis will be able to see the Paramatma in the heart. That is the yoga, those who are performing Ashtanga yoga, in the Samadhi Sthiti, the yogis will see the Lord in the heart, that is Paramatma. And this Paramatma is very, very powerful. How he is powerful? He is present in each and every living entity. And the living entity has to take the permission of that Paramatma before performing any activity. It may or may not be known to us, but unless the Paramatma agrees, we cannot perform any activity. It's like if I want to raise my hand, Paramatma has to agree. If the Paramatma say, no, you can't raise your hand, then it will be paralyzed. It will just stop working. Paramatma, that is Upadrishta, Anumantacha, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara. So he is present in the heart and he is controlling everything. It's like if there should be rain or there should not be rain, this is also controlled by the Paramatma. Because we are in this material world and the Paramatma is the overseer. He is able to look after everything. So if he decides, okay, let this jiva has to suffer like this, just by desiring that, it will happen. It is not possible by anybody else. If you want to, if the Paramatma decides, okay, this jiva is enough of this body, okay, let him go to another body, he will be immediately shifted to the another body. That is Paramatma's energy. Oh, these all energies, they will be exhibited in the material platform. It is for our material activities, whatever we are performing. That is the power of Paramatma, who is present in our heart. That is Sat and Chit potency of the Lord. Paramatma is eternal, and also he has all the power. Then coming to Bhakti, the absolute truth with the material and spiritual potency. What is that spiritual potency? The Bhagavan, Bhaga, 6 kind of potencies of the Lord. That is the spiritual potency. Aishwaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, Yashashashriya, Jnana, Vairagyayashchaiva, Shadaviti Bhaganga. These are the spiritual potency of the Lord, and he has attractive features, like he has the devotees, the Rupa Madhurya, Venu Madhurya, all these things will come. So these are the spiritual potency of the Lord, which we can understand only through Bhakti. Through Sankhya, we only do the analysis, and through Jnana, we'll understand the material world, that is what it is exactly, that is the Sat feature of the Lord. Then in Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, one can understand Sat and Chit features, and that is the Paramatma. Dhyana avastita tadgatena manasa pashyanti yam yogin. The yogis, they will see the Lord in the heart. Then Bhakti, through Bhakti, one can come to the spiritual understanding. Now, for all these types of yoga, there are different shlokas in Bhagavad Gita. You can go through the shloka number 7.4 to 7. That is the chapter 7. Bhumi rapo analo vayu kham mano buddhirevacha ahankara iti yanme bhinna prakriti rashtada. That is the bhinna prakriti. And apareyam isastvanyam prakritim vidhime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yedam dhariti jagat. That is the tatastha shakti of the Lord. These all are the analysis, Sankhya analysis, the 5 elements, and mana, buddhi, ahankara, all these things. Then in the 18th chapter also, there is a shloka in the text number 55. .55 says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha tato mam tattvato jnatva vishate tadanantaram. So what it says here, only by bhakti one can understand who is God. Otherwise, it is not possible. Coming back to Jnana in 7:19. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate. Vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. So after many lifetime, a person who has understood, or one who has developed the jnana, knowledge, he can understand who is God. Vasudeva sarvamiti. The Lord is everything. And the yoga, it is explained in the 6th chapter, 14 to 14-15. That is prashantatma vigatabi brahmachari vrate stitaha mana sanyamya Machitto yukta asita matparaha yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi niyatamanasah shantim nirvana paramam matsanstham adhigacchati. So in this way, the person can understand the Paramatma features of the Lord through the yoga. And also in the 47, last shloka, it is told, Yogi namapi sarvesham madgatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamomataha. The greatest yogi is the Bhakta. Even though the person who is performing Ashtanga Yoga, he can realize the Paramatma in the heart, but the highest yogi is Bhakti Yogi. And Bhakti is explained in 3.9. Yajñarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samacharaha. So whatever we perform, if it is performed not for Krishna, then it is going to bind. So performing activity for Krishna is nothing but bhakti. So whatever activities we perform, it must be done as akarma. That is by performing which we can get liberated. That is through bhakti. And mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashi nirmama bhutva bhutva yudhyasva vigata jwaraha. So perform all the activities for Krishna. That is nothing but bhakti. So in the 15th shloka, here it is telling about the highest position of bhakti. It is not through Sankhya, not through the Jnana or Yoga. It is through the bhakti one can go back to Godhead. Otherwise, it remains an incomplete practice of spirituality. It is like a yoga ladder you can see. If you are stopping in between, it is incomplete. If you are coming to bhakti, then it is the complete practice of spirituality. Next, coming to the 16th shloka. Pushane karsha yamasurya prajapatya vyuharashmin samuha tejo yatte rupam kalyanatamam tatte pashyami yosasav purusha sohamasmi. O my Lord, O primeval philosopher, maintainer of the universe, O regulating principle, destination of the pure devotees, well-wisher of the progenitors of mankind, please remove the effulgence of your transcendental rays so that I can see your form of bliss. You are the eternal supreme personality of Godhead, like unto the sun as I am. There are totally 8 paragraphs here. The first paragraph is talking about Vyuha Rashmi, that is beyond Brahman is the Bhagavan feature. Vyuha Rashmi, here you can see the meaning. Pushan Ekarshe Yamasurya Prajapatya Vyuha Rashmi. Kindly remove the rays. So why it is told here to remove the rays of light? It is to see the Lord. That means Brahman, the Bhagavan realization is beyond the Brahman. The Bhagavan realization is beyond Brahman realization. That is in the first paragraph. And here Prabhupada quotes the Brahma Samhita. Chintamani prakarasadmasu kalpa vriksha laksha vriteshu surabhira vipalayantam Lakshmi sahasra shatasambhrama sevyamanam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So what it is told, when the Lord removes the Brahman effulgence, this will be the vision. What happens? The person is able to see the spiritual world, which is made of Chintamani, the Chintamani Dhama, which is made of touchstone. It is completely made of touchstone. That is the Chintamani Dhama. We can see that. And Prakara Sadmasu, which is always effulgent. There is no need to have any sun or moon. It is not necessary because everything is self-effulgent. Kalpa Vriksha trees are there, and Lakshavriteshu in so many millions of numbers. Surabhira Bipalayantam, Surabhi cows are there. Lakshmi Sahasa, millions of Lakshmis are serving the Lord. Sahasa Sambrama Sevimanam. See, this is the vision that we get when we go back to Godhead. That is the that is what we can get when the Brahman curtain is removed and we get the Bhagavan realization. Then in the next 3 to 4, Prabhupada is explaining about Kalyanatama. He is the most auspicious relation. That is, the Lord is making. Yeah, the Lord is the most auspicious person. Just a minute. Yeah, the most auspicious realization. Bhagavan is the most auspicious realization. When we come to the Bhagavan realization, our spiritual practice comes to the perfection. Here in the paragraph, if you see, Prabhupada gives another meaning for Bhagavan. The word Bhagavan, as we know, there are 6 opulences for the Lord. Bhagavat Sandarbha by Srila Jiva Goswami, he has explained, and Prabhupada is quoting here, the Bha means the one who is fully maintains, and Ga means guide, leader, or creator. Bha means one who is maintains, and Ga means one who guides or leads, and Van means the one who is possessing, or every being lives in him, that he also lives in every living being. That is another understanding of Bhagavan. Bha means the maintainer, Ga means the guide or leader or creator, and Van means the one who is living in everything, and everything living is living in himself. So in other words, the transcendental sound Bhagavan represents infinite knowledge, potency, energy, opulence, strength, and influence, all without a tinge of material inebriety. That is the meaning of Bhagavan. Then comes Pushan. What is the meaning of Pushan? How the Lord maintains the devotees and everyone and everything else. Everything is being maintained by the Lord himself. The Lord is the giver of everything. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. He is the one who gives the rain. He is one who is giving all the foodstuffs, and the sun, moon, everything comes from him. In this way, the Lord is maintaining all the devotees as well as non-devotees. Everyone is being maintained by that supreme being, the Lord. Then next comes 6 to 7. Here it is telling about Soham Asmi. So Aham Asmi. How the living entity is one, yet different from the Lord. So here Soham, people generally say, I am also that. That means I am also the Supreme Lord, or I am also God. But here we can understand by the purport and also by this mantra, the living entity and the Lord are not same. If it is same, then why there is prayer? If somebody has to pray, means he is praying to another person. I cannot pray to myself. That is meaningless. I don't have to pray. I just have to decide. That's all. What I want, I will decide and I perform. But why should I pray to anybody if I think that the Lord is and myself are same? So it is not possible. So here, Soham Asmi, we can say Dasoham Asmi. I am your eternal servant. That is the real identity of the living entity. I am not you, but I am your servant. Krishnera Nitya Dasa. Jivera Sarupahaya Krishnera Nitya Dasa. Finally, in the 8th paragraph, the favor of the Lord sought by this prayer is fulfilled in pure devotional service. When we pray to Krishna, our prayer will be fulfilled when we come to the perfection or the pure devotional service of the Lord. We can come to the understanding of the Lord. That means the Lord will remove the Brahman effulgence and he will show himself to the pure devotee. Unless we desire to see the Lord will not reveal himself. So it is the importance of devotional service. Now, jnana, performing of jnana, how it can harm our bhakti. This jnana, in one way it is anukula, in another way it is pratikula. So what are the different ways we can understand? The aspect of jnana, constitutionally, oneness denies eternity of bhakti. When we perform jnana, and if this jnana leads to the impersonal understanding of the Lord, then what happens? There is no two person. The jiva and the Lord becomes one. Then bhakti will never exist. For such people, bhakti, even if they practice, it will be only a stepping stone, or it is just like a ladder. Now you do the bhakti to come to the platform of spirituality, and once you come there, then you don't need bhakti, because you yourself become God. When you yourself is God, then whom will you do the bhakti? That is not possible. So that the constitutionally we have it then is the eternity of bhakti. Bhakti gets destroyed. And hardening of the heart. When the person develops this jnana, he will lose the tenderness of the heart. He will not have the loving propensity towards the Lord or towards anybody else. They will just have dry philosophy which says that this material world is temporary. We should end this material world. It's all illusion, and go back to Godhead. Go to the Brahman effulgence and just be there. It is complete peacefulness. There is nothing else. So because of that, they will give up all the material possessions or the material bondages, because of which it needs a lot of energy. If you want to, just like the mother, if she wants to go to some work, she is going, and the child is crying. When the child is crying very loudly, she cannot leave because the heart will not allow. If we say that she has gone, that means she has made her heart very strong and she left. Otherwise, it is not possible. Even for small children, they cannot give up the material tendencies. So when a person develops this jnana, he will develop to such an extent that he will just give up all the bondages of this material world. It's one sense, it's good, but it hardens the heart. And this hard heart cannot help us to understand Krishna. We need very soft heart. The heart which is always hankering for the Lord. If your heart is too hard, then if you do so much of austerity and God doesn't come, okay, you don't come, no problem, I'm happy here itself. You may end up with that. So that is the adverse effect of performing or having jnana. With the jnana which will take us away from the Lord. Then designation, becoming one with the Lord, or end of bhakti, end of oneself, end of one's existence. Everything will be closed by performing the jnana. That is the jnana when it becomes pratikula for bhakti. But the jnana also can become anukula for bhakti. When it is becoming anukula, emphasized subordination of the soul. So what is this jnana? The knowledge which uncovers our ignorance of thinking that I am the greatest, or I am the controller. Now, when I come to know, oh, this material world is made of 5 elements, and these 5 elements are coming from the Lord, and the Lord is the creator of this universe. This universe contains so many planets, and everything is under his control. Yachakshuresha savita sakala grahanam raja samasta suramurti rashesha teja yasyajnaya bhramati sambrita kala chakro govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. By his glance, all the planetary systems are moving exactly. So there is no mistake in the calculation. Everything is going on just by his order. So when we see that energy of the Lord, automatically the person becomes subordinate to the Lord. Then it is anukula for bhakti. It will help us to surrender to God. Why are you surrendering to God? Because God is the greatest. God is the controller. He is the maintainer. When I get all this jnana, I will surrender to Krishna. Now, application-wise, stabilization of bhakti practices. So when we get the knowledge that if I practice Krishna consciousness perfectly, I will be able to advance in my spirituality and I can go back to Godhead. So all this knowledge which is pertaining to the advancement in spirituality, it will make me more stable. Just like a child or a student, when he understands the importance of education, and if he understands that if I study well, if I get good marks, then I can be happy, and I can get a good result, and I can get good job or whatever. So all these things makes him to study more and regular, be more punctual for the classes, and be more studious. So in the same manner, when we understand the importance of bhakti, then we become more stable in our Krishna consciousness. We should always know what is the importance of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, what it has, what is the potency of this mantra. When we understand this, then through the guidance of the Guru and Krishna, when we realize this, then our bhakti becomes more stable. Then designation, enhanced appreciation of the Lord's glories. So when we just know that God is great, it is not sufficient. But when we understand how great He is, then our real glory will come. The real glory of the Lord will understand and will appreciate it. If we see how great is the Lord, when we say a person is very great when he has a lot of wealth, if it is in the form of land, one person may be a landlord for a district or an entire kingdom, entire state may be owned by a person. He may be a very great person. But even if we see a person has few acres of land, he will be considered as so great. But for the Lord, it is like all the planets belongs to Him. It is so great He is. The Bhudevi is His subordinate. Then what kind of what more we can understand? Or if you see the wealth, how much money you have, I'm the richest person in this world, somebody may say. But who is God? He is Lakshmipati. Whatever wealth is there, everything belongs to Him. So what wealth more than that one can have? So in this way, when we understand the greatness of the Lord, when we get this knowledge, then we will glorify Him without any hindrance. There is no doubt in our heart. God is great. So it will make us more attached to the Lord, so that we can advance in spirituality and go back to Godhead. That is the anukula of jnana. So when we accept the jnana, we should be accept it in such a way that it should be anukula for our bhakti, not to pratikula. That's why we hear only from the devotees. When we hear the pastimes of the Lord, it should not be heard from a Vaishnava. When we hear from non-devotees, it can have poisonous effect. Vaishnava mukhodgirinam putam harikatamritam shravanam naiva kartavyam sarpochishta payoyata. The milk, it may be very nectarian, but if it is touched with the tongue of a snake, then it will have poisonous effect. Similarly, the knowledge, a person may be very knowledgeable. He may be knowing all the 4 Vedas and Upanishads, Vyakarana, Jyotish Shastra, everything he may be knowing. But if he is not a devotee, there are many people like that. They will give you very nice analysis of all kinds of philosophies. They will explain what Shankaracharya has told, what Madhvacharya has told, what Ramanujacharya has told. Everything they will explain, but finally they will have their own philosophy on top of that. So who is right, who is wrong, they themselves will analyze, and finally they will end up not in bhakti. They will be proud of their knowledge. So such kind of jnana should not be accepted. We should only accept the knowledge which will lead to bhakti, that is through devotees. Why devotees are gaining knowledge, why we read Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita? It is to understand the glory of the Lord, not to increase our information, not increase our the intellectual property. We are trying to understand the Lord's pastimes for glorifying Him, so that He will become happy, so that our life becomes perfect, not for our own glorification. So that is the anukula part of bhakti. Shall we have kirtan or shall we continue? Mataji, or?
Yeah, we can have the kirtan first.
Okay. Then who is going to do, Mataji?
Sureshwari Priya Ravirasi.
Yes, Mataji, can you please raise your hand? Yes, Mataji, you can start.
Rakshada Mataji, are you sharing?
Yeah.
Screen is not visible.
I think there is a network problem. Her camera is also frozen, looks like.
Shall I try?
She has already shared it.
But not seen black screen.
Now you can try, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Is it visible?
No, Mataji. Or else you can start, Mataji. It's okay. Which song you are singing?
Brajanam, this one. Vrajadam Mahimamrat.
Okay, you can start.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Idi Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prajarine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The bhajan which I have taken is Shri Brajadam Mahimamrit. It is written by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madana Mohan Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madana Mohan Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Kalindi Yamuna Jai Jai Mahavan Keshi Gadha Vanshi Gadha Dwadish Kananan Joha Sabalila Koile Shri Nanda Nandan Shri Nanda Jashoda Jaya Jaya Gopagan Shri Damadi Jaya Jaya Denu Vatsagan Jaya Vrishabhanu Jaya Kirtida Sundari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Abhinagari Jaya Jaya Gopeshwara Vrindavan Maja Jaya Jaya Krishna Sabha Bhattu Dvijaraj Jaya Rama Gata Jaya Rohini Nandan Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Vasi Jatajan Jaya Dvija Patni Jaya Naga Kanyagan Bhakti Dejo Hara Poi Logo Vincharan Jaya Rasa Mandala Jaya Jaya Radha Sham Jaya Jaya Rasa Leela Sarva Manoram Jaya Jaya Jala Rasa Sarva Rasa Sar Paragiya Bhave Jaha Braje Prajara Jaya Janavi Pada Patma Kariya Smaran Dina Krishna Dasa Kohi Nama Sankirtan Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madana Mohan Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Can I read the translation?
Yes, Mataji.
All glories to Radha and Krishna, the divine forest of Vrindavana. All glories to the three presiding deities of Vrindavana, Shri Govinda, Gopinatha and Madan Mohana. All glories to Shamakunda, Radhakunda, Govardhana Hill and Yamuna River, Kalindi. All glories to the great forest as Mahavana, where Krishna and Balaram displayed all of their childhood pastimes. All glories to Keshi Ghatha, where Krishna killed Keshi demon. All glories to the Vamshavada tree, where Krishna attracted all gopis to come by playing his flute. Glories to all of the 12 forests of Vrija. All these places, the son of Nanda, Sri Krishna performed all of his pastimes. All glories to Sri Krishna's divine father and mother Nanda and Yashoda, All glories to the cowherd boys, headed by Sri Dhama, the elder brother of Srimati Radharani and Anangamanjari. All glories to the cows and calves of Vrija. All glories to Radha's divine father and mother, Vrishabhanu and the beautiful Kirtida. All glories to Purnamasi, the mother of Santibani Muni, grandmother of Madhumangala and Nandi Mukhi, and beloved disciple of Devarshi Narada. All glories to the young cowherd men of all glories to cowherd maidens of Vraja. All glories to Gobishwara Shiva, who resides in Vrindavana in order to protect the holy Dhamma. All glories to Krishna's funny Brahmana friend Madhumangala. All glories to Ramagatha, where Lord Balarama performed his Rasa dance. All glories to Balarama, the son of Rogni. All glories to all the residents of Vrindavana. All glories to the wives of the proud Vedic Brahmanas. All glories to the wives of Kaliya serpent. Through pure devotion, they all obtain the lotus feet of Lord Govinda. All glories to the place where the Rasa dance of Sri Krishna was performed. All glories to Radha and Shyama. All glories to the divine Rasa dance, which is the most beautiful of all Lord Krishna's pastimes. All glories to the mellow of conjugal love, which is the most excellent of all rasas and is propagated in Vraja by Sri Krishna in the form of the divine Parakiya Bhav, Paramar love. Remembering the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda's consort, Sri Janavi Devi, this very fallen and lovely servant of Krishna sings the Sankirtana of the holy name. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Let us continue to the shloka number 17. This is the art of dying, how to give up the life. It's also there in Bhagavad Gita 8th chapter, how one should give up the life. Vayuranilam amritam athedam bhasmantam shariram om kratosmara kritam smara kratam smara kritam smara. Let this temporary body be burned to ashes, and let the air of the life be merged with the totality of air. Now, O my Lord, please remember all my sacrifices. And because you are the ultimate beneficiary, please remember all that I have done for you. Now the jiva is at the time of death. What happens? This body, which we have taken care for so many years, with so much of care, we are going to give it up. And it will become one with the material energy, because we have taken this body from the Mother Earth and we have to return it, and we have to continue our journey. So this body will be burned to ashes, or it will be buried, or whatever, it will be destroyed. It will be, nobody can keep it, and it loses all its functions. And the air that we are breathing, no more breathing. The air, it is, once the air is given out, it is no more inhaling, it's over. So that air is merged with the totality of the air. At that point, the living entity is telling Kratosmara, Kratam Smara, Kratosmara, Kratam Smara. Continuously he is telling, whatever I have done, please remember, please remember. He is crying to the Lord, oh Lord, I have done this, please remember, I have done this, please remember, so that I may get some better condition in my afterlife. So here, the Lord always remembers. There is no need to say that to the Lord, oh Lord, please remember, because the Lord will remember everything. If whatever we don't remember also, he will remember. So what is the purpose of telling here Kratosmara, Kratam Smara? It is the time where, at the time of death, we will remember what we have done in our life, whole life. So at that time, what we remember should be conducive for the devotion. Then only we can say, oh Lord, please remember whatever I have done. If a person has done only all bad things in his life, then he can't say, "Oh Lord, please remember." What do you have to remember? I have to remember and take you to the hell. So this is the warning. At the time of death, you have to tell the Lord, Pratosmara Kritam Smara means you have to do something such that you can say like that. Otherwise, you can't say Kratosmara Kritam Smara. You have to just close your eyes. Whatever I have done, it is all nonsense. Now I don't know where I am going. That will be our condition. So it is we who remember at the time of death whatever we have done in our whole life. And at this point of time, when you are alive, we should be very careful to see that at that particular moment, we only remember the good things. For that, we have to do only the good activities, the devotional activities, akarma. Then one can go back to Godhead. This is the overview of this sloka. The material body is a foreign dress that must be given up. Nobody can keep this material body because we are not this body. This body is made of 5 elements and it has to be given up. And the best way to give up this body is by surrendering to the Lord, not by going to the Brahma Jyoti. So anyhow, we have to give up the body. So what is the best way? It is to surrender into the Lord. If we are not surrendering in this life, then we may take many lifetimes to surrender to the Lord. So at least we have to practice the devotional service and surrender to the Lord and go back to Godhead. Going to Brahma Jyoti, there is no guarantee that we will remain there permanently. We have to come back. So the best thing is go back to Godhead. Surrender to God. Then importance of the last thought that is explained in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejintante kalevaram tam tam eva iti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitah. That 8.6 in the book also it is explained. In the shloka is given. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits the body, that same kind of propensities, it will come to the next life. Jadabharata is the example. And then next, Krishna never forgets our service to him. So there is no need to worry whether Krishna remembers or not. He will definitely remember whatever we have done. But we have to do the devotional service so that we can go back to Godhead. We should develop the love for the Lord. We should practice what we are going to do in the spiritual world. That activity, those activities, we should engage here when we are in the material world, so that same kind of service will be given to us when we go back to Godhead. Krishna's mercy is ever available through devotional service. So whenever we are performing devotional service, Krishna is always ready to accept. There is no need to worry about whether Krishna will accept me or not. There is no need to worry. Krishna is always open. It is we who have decided not to go to the Lord. And it is in detail, it is explained in the Bhagavatam. That is, Shrunvatam Sukata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayam Tasto Hyabhadrani Vidunoti Suhritsatam. When we hear about the glories of Lord, all the anarthas in the heart, it will go away, so that our heart becomes clean, pure for remembering Krishna. Tada rajastamo bhava kama lobhadayashte chetayete anavidyam stitam sattve prasidati. In this way, when a person comes to the devotional platform, he will constantly remember the Lord, so that it is certain that he will go back to Godhead. Prepare for death by devotional practice. So everyone must practice this, as the life is a preparation and death is a examination. Therefore, one must practice this devotional service. Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Harihi Shrotavya Kirtitavyashta Smartavya Chechata Bhayam. Everyone who desires to be free from all anxieties should always hear about, glorify, and remember the personality of Godhead, who is the supreme director of everything, the extinguisher of the difficulties and the super soul of all living entities. This is Bhagavatam. So therefore, we must practice this, how to go back to Godhead. It is not a choice. Everyone must practice. Otherwise, there is a danger of coming back. Om Kratosmara, Kritam Smara, Kratosmara, Kritam Smara. Krato means supreme beneficiary. Kritam means all that I have done for you. Please remember. Oh my Lord, please remember all my sacrifices because you are the ultimate beneficiary. Please remember all that I have done for you. So we must do the greatest sacrifice is Sankirtana Yajna in this Kali Yuga. So at the time of death, we should be having that satisfaction. Okay, in my whole life, I have done enough bhakti so that the Lord may be pleased. I have, with my all capacity, I have performed Sankirtana Yajna, Japa Yajna every day. So this sacrifice which I have done for the Lord's happiness, Lord's pleasure, as soon as I came in touch with the devotees, it will save me. So that hope will be there, at least for the devotees, so that one don't have to worry about what will happen to the jiva after death. Anybody would like to read? Can they raise their hand? Shri Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Even if at the time of death, a devotee does not remember his service to the Lord does not forget him. This prayer is given to remind the Lord of the devotee's sacrifices. But even if there is no such reminder, the Lord does not forget the service rendered by his pure devotee. Mantra 17 purport. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So in this way, the Lord will not forget. The Lord will remember us always. Art of the art of leaving the body. The body will give us up, but we will not give up the body. What does it mean? We have to change the body. The body, when it deteriorates, when it is no longer useful for living, the soul will be removed from the body. But the soul doesn't leave the body. That means the consciousness, the attachment, it carries in the subtle body, so that it will go to another body. Because at the time of death, if the person remembers that, oh, I could have had a little more money, I could have enjoyed more in this life, or if I had some healthy body, I could have enjoyed even more, or if I had more knowledge or more fame, I could have done little better this life. Some people feel like that. If I had this, I could have become happy. If I had this one, I could have become happy. If any of these tendencies are there, then the material nature will arrange for it. Okay, you are desiring for this. Okay, you can have this. In the next life, such kind of body will be given. Because until we lose all the hope for material enjoyment, we will not go back to Godhead. Because after going there, we will think of this material world. I was happy there. Why did you bring here? Like that, we should not ask Krishna. So one must give up the attachment for the material body. Then one can go back to Godhead. The attachment has to be given up. And the importance of the last thought. At death, we will remember that in which we have sought shelter the most during our life. So this is another warning we should remember. People say, when we say that what you remember at the time of death, you will get it. Okay, I will be very cautious that I will remember what I want at the time of my death. But we don't know when the death comes. At the time of death, it is not so easy to remember. It is just like when you are walking, somebody snatches your mobile. At that particular moment, the thought which comes to your mind is not in your control. It is completely dependent on how you are attached to that mobile or any object that you are losing. At the time of death, we are going to lose our body. We are losing our wealth, the name, fame, our relatives, everything, whatever we had in our whole life, we are giving up that one moment. So how much difficult it will be. Just imagine, if you lose your purse, how much difficult it will be for you. Or if you lose your near and dear one in your life, can you control your thoughts? It is not possible. Now, for a dying person, the world is losing one person, but that one dying person is losing the entire world. So at that time, the thoughts will not be in our control. So when we come to the realization that Krishna is the only shelter, we will surrender to him. Otherwise, we will be taking shelter of so many other things. And Krishna is always ready to help us. So Krishna's unfailing love, ever waiting, ever willing, and ever working. The Lord is waiting for us since so many millions of years, so many births. We have come in the life of the aquatics, the plants, birds, beasts, animals, everything. We never turned our face towards the Lord. But still the Lord is waiting when this fellow will think of coming back. He is just waiting for it. And he is ever willing. It is like he is coming and giving the devotion to us, or he is helping us to go back to Godhead. And who is the beneficiary? It is ourselves. It is not that Lord wants something. He has everything. He is Atma Rama. But still he is trying to take us back to Godhead for our own good. But at the same time, he is ever willing. He will not say no. But it is we who are not ready and ever working. He is actively coming here, taking so many incarnations, sending so many acharyas, sending the Shastra. In all the means, the Lord is giving us the love. Last shloka, 18th one. Agnenaya supatharaya asman vishwani deva vyuhara vayunani vidwan yuyodhi asmad juhuranameno bhuishtam te nama uktim vidhema. O my Lord, as powerful as fire, O omnipotent one, now I offer you all obeisances, falling on the ground at your feet. O my Lord, please lead me on the right path to reach you. And since you know all that I have done in the past, please free me from the reactions to my past sins so that there will be no hindrance to my progress. This is the Bhakti part of this. So, but here in the 17th sloka, also it is explaining the Navavidha Bhakti there. In the page number 112, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam. And Prabhupada also explains the examples for that. The Shravanam is by Parikshit Maharaj, and Kirtanam by Shukadeva Goswami, Smaranam by Prahlad Maharaj, Smaranam, Padasevanam by Lakshmi Devi, and the worshipping the Lord. The Archanam, that is by Akrura, and offering prayers to the Lord, that is Akrura. Worshipping Prithu Maharaj is Archana, and Vandana is by Akrura, and serving the Lord, 7th one, that is Hanuman, Dasyam, then Sakhyam, Arjuna, and surrendering away everything to the Lord, Atma Samarpanam, that is by Bali Maharaj. This is explained in the previous shloka, 17th shloka. Now in the 18th shloka, it is the prayer for removing all the obstacles that are present in our devotional life, so that we can progress in our spirituality. There are 8 paragraphs. First paragraph speaks about how obstacle on the spiritual path originate. What is the cause of our obstacles? And then achieving perfection, the gradual way, how one can come to the perfection. The gradual way and the quick way, both are explained. And finally, how the omnipotent Lord guides a devotee. That is the third part. So there are three parts in this. First one is destroying all the obstacles, how it is coming. The God purifies us. You can see in the first paragraphs. There is no difference between Lord and his name. When we take the name of the Lord, the Lord will be the Lord is present within the name itself. The chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the austerity as well as it is the benediction. When we practice, when we do the japa or sankirtan, we are praying to Krishna to engage us in the service of the Lord. That is the prayer. O Radharani, please engage me in Krishna's service. And at the same time, this prayer is a benediction also, because when we pray like that, the Lord is already present in our tongue. That is for which we are hankering. So it will remove all the obstacles, and the obstacles are coming because we are attached to the results of our activity, that is the karma kanda or our activities which binds this to this material world, the vikarma, what we have performed. All these things can become a hindrance on the path of self-realization. Everything is because of the illusion. And then gradual and quick way. Gradual way is going through the 84 lakh species of life and then gradually coming to the human form of life, then practicing the varnashrama and going through the karma kanda, then jnana, then yoga, then coming to bhakti, finally going back to Godhead. And quick way is directly take to Krishna consciousness. One who takes to Krishna consciousness through the bhakti, one can easily surpass all these obstacles. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, Swapada Moolam Bhajata Priyasya Tyaktwanya Bhavasya Hare Paresha Vikarma Yachotpatitam Kathanchit Dhunoti Sarvam Hrudi Sannivishtaha. The Lord is so kind to the devotee who is fully surrendered to his lotus feet that even though the devotee sometimes falls into the ignorant entanglement of vikarma, acts against the Vedic directions, the Lord at once rectifies such mistakes from within his heart. This is because the devotee are very dear to the Lord. So this is the glory of bhakti. When we perform bhakti, the Lord will take care of our going back to Godhead. Even though we make some small mistakes, he will rectify it. And how the Lord is guiding the devotee, he is purifying us. He is removing all the obstacles from our path of devotion, and he is inspiring from within for performing devotional service through the spiritual master. And he will rectify all the vikarma that we are performing, all the activities. And he has care for us. He will take care of all our devotional practice, and he will make sure that everything is performed properly by the devotee, one who is constantly endeavoring for perfection. By hearing chanting of the glories of the Lord, one can go back to Godhead. When a person continuously hears the glories of the Lord, that is the Shravanam, then our heart becomes clean. And all undesirable things what are there in our heart, it will get removed. This is explained in the last paragraph of 18th shloka, 18th mantra, last but one. And when all undesirable things are removed from the heart, then the devotion becomes fixed. So when we remove all the dirt from the heart becomes clean, so that the Lord can come and sit there. And when the Lord comes, it is just like bringing the light. All the darkness is over. The effects of passion and ignorance will be removed. Then the enlightenment by virtue of bhakti. The devotee gets enlightenment, and then he will understand how to please the Lord. What is good for how can I please the Lord? That knows the way to attain the Lord. And whatever doubts that are there in our heart, we have so many questions now when we perform devotional service. All these doubts gets cleared, and then one can become a pure devotee of the Lord. So this is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1 to 17, the first canto, second chapter, shloka number 17. Shranvatam Sukata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Hridyantasto Hyabadrani, Vidunoti Suratsata, Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavati Uttama Shloke, Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtaki. Tada Rajastamo Bhava Kamalobhadesche, Cheta Yetarana Vidyam, Stitam Satve, Prasidati, Evam Prasanna Manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha, Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam, Mukta Sangasya Jayate. So this is the process, gradual. It is a quick process by devotional service through which we can go back to Godhead, and it is a step-by-step explanation how hearing and remembering the glory of the Lord, one can purify his heart and be fixed in devotional service and go back to Godhead, which is the ultimate goal of life. So what we have understood here in the entire Ishopanishad, invocation up to third shloka, Ishavasya principle, how to remain harmony with the Ishavasya principle, and what is disharmony, and who is Ishvara. The 4 to 5 says inconceivable potency of the Lord. Then the spiritual vision of the Mahabhagavata is explained, and how a Mahabhagavata understands the Ishvara. All this explained. Then right and wrong understanding of Ishvara, that is Vidya and Upasana. The Vidya is personal knowledge, and avidya is material and impersonal knowledge. The personal knowledge of the Lord is Vidya, and avidya can have two meanings. One is material knowledge, other one is impersonal understanding. Then Upasana, demigod worship and supreme Lord worship, and also the worship of this material world. All these things are explained. Finally, how the prayer to Ishvara is done for revealing himself. So what we can understand, through akarma, that is through devotional service, one can have rapid elevation in the spiritual life. And by doing karma or karma kanda, one can gradually elevate, that is through the varnashrama system. And vikarma, one who is performing unwanted activities, then he will degrade himself. And there is a constant struggle between jiva and the Maya. So in the beginning, it looks like very difficult. We helplessly get defeated by the Maya through the senses. That is the first stage when we come to devotional service. We say, oh, I can't chant, I can't practice this, it's very difficult. That is as long as we are under the clutches of Maya, then Maya can easily defeat us. And when we struggle for that, for the success, then in the beginning we may get defeated for some time. As we go on struggling more and more, Krishna, when he looks at our struggle, when Guru and Krishna gives us strength, then we can succeed, that is struggle and success. Then finally, when a person gets the ruchi, asakti, bhava and prema, then there is no Maya can touch him. Just like Prabhupada said, Maya cannot touch me, because he is a pure devotee. He has completely attracted to the glory of the Lord. So such people, they will never fail. They are eternal servants of the Lord. So when we come to that state, effortlessly we can achieve success in our spirituality. So one must have more faith in his ability than doubt about our own inability. So our inability may be very big, but Krishna's ability is more than that. Krishna is so powerful that even though we are very fallen, he can deliver us. That is the potency of devotional service. The devotional service, it can remove any kind of obstacle. It is so powerful. It is so potent. A person might have done any kind of apichetsu duracharo bhajate ananyabhak sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasito hi saha. So when one performs very abominable activity also, if he comes to devotional service, he can elevate himself. Finally, never give up. we never lose till we lose hope. That is, when we feel, okay, I am not feeling happy when I'm chanting, I'm practicing Krishna consciousness so many years, but still no progress. So don't worry, the transformation is taking place. It may not be visible at that particular time. So we'll not lose until we lose the hope. And Krishna has not lost hope on us for so many lifetimes. We are like this. We don't know how many lifetimes we are in this condition, but still Krishna is waiting for us. So we also have to practice. We should not lose the hope. And finally, why should we lose hope? Due to struggle for a few years in one short lifetime. Of course, this lifetime is very, very short. And for a few years we have practiced. Because of this small struggle itself, why we have to lose the hope? Because what we have done is very, very small as compared to what the obstacles are there. So this is an overview of Ishopanishad. So what we studied, understanding the summarizing of mantra 15 to 18. Shri Ishopanishad, the knowledge that brings one nearer to the Supreme. Upanishad. Upanishad means one which brings nearer. Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Finally, concluding quote. Anybody would like to read? Radha Vallabhi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
The entire process is hinted at in this mantra 18, and Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.17 to 20 explains it further.
Continue, Mataji.
Hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord is itself an act of piety. By hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, one becomes cleansed of all undesirable things, and then one's devotion becomes fixed upon the Lord. At this stage, the devotee acquires the Brahminical qualifications, and the effect of the lower modes of nature, passion and ignorance completely vanish.
Continue.
The devotee becomes fully enlightened by virtue of his devotional service, and thus he comes to know the path of the Lord and the way to attain him. As all doubts diminish, he becomes a pure devotee. Mantra 18, perfect. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So with this, we have come to the last part of this Ishopanishad, the conclusion. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Anybody has any questions, they can raise their hand in today's class. Deepti Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for such an enlightening session. Thank you. Prabhuji, this prayer, this was offered by whom for the Lord, and in which incarnation? I mean, was it directly to Lord Krishna or in any of the Vishnu incarnations, Prabhuji?
Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. You can mute, Mataji. Yeah. Srimad Bhagavatam, there are in 8th canto, first shloka. I told in the beginning. It is the Swayambhuva Manu who was performing austerity. He prayed this to Yajna. Yajna is the grandson of Swayambhuva Manu, who is the Lord himself. Yajna and Dakshina, they are the incarnations. So this prayer is done. There Atma Vasyam Idam Shariram is explained. Here it is Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. Atma Vasyam Idam Sarvam is the explanation in that at that place.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Sureshwar Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the wonderful sessions of this Ishopanishad. Now, we did it for the second time in our entire studies, but it is becoming more and more clearer. But compared to all the earlier books, I think this is more tougher. Though it is appears to be a small book and it is very difficult to remember. That's one thing. Now, I have 2-3 questions.
Yes.
One is from the last 14th chapter. There it was told about that avyakta, a word is given 3 times. Now that avyakta is explaining, one is Brahma's night time, Brahma's disappearance, and again a third level, that is avyakta, when there is an this one unmanifested stage where there is a spiritual sky, where there are unlimited number of Vaikunthas displayed. So why that third part, why it is known as avyakta? Because it cannot be seen by us. That is the reason.
Yeah, Vyakta means visible, Avyakta means not visible.
Yeah, but the first and second is okay, because no, in the first stage, when night time comes, he goes to sleep. That time, the living Jiva will be going back to Karnodaka Sai Vishnu. Then later on, they will come back during the daytime. But in the second Avyakta, total devastation happens. Then again, the next creation happens. In the third one, it is the spiritual sky, which is unmanifested. That is third Avyakta. So unmanifested for us, isn't it?
Yes,
Those
yes.
who are in the spiritual body, they can see that particular world.
Yeah, they can see. It is not visible to us.
Okay. So that question is clear. Now the next question is from 17th chapter today. That is, 15th chapter. Hiranmayena Patrena. That particular word. The god is covered by a golden covering. That is the word meaning. Because there is a question in the closed book examination, that question bank, there is a question.
Yeah.
English meaning of Hiranmayena Patrena. So Hiranmayena Patrena means we have to give the other meaning, that is
Golden apple.
We have to only say that no, Hiranmayena Patrena means the god is covered by effulgence. Is it that way, or remove?
Golden effulgence which covers the Lord.
To be removed, we have to say that it is to be removed, so that the devotee can see. We should say so or not?
That is Apavrunu.
So we have to say only this much, golden covering.
That is one.
Dazzling golden covering. Golden effulgence covering the God, isn't it?
Yeah.
Word meaning. Now the next one, that is, we were talking about Jnana Pratikula to Bhakti and Jnana Anukula to Bhakti. So in Jnana Pratikula to Bhakti, we can talk about impersonalism, and impersonalist, when they talk, when they become the leader, then they will guide the other jivas also into a wrong path.
Yes.
So that is also a Pratikula type of things, no?
Yes. It's a wrong education.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Radhavallavi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, first of all. Excellent session. All the session, but today it was, I think, the concluding session was too good. I have one question against this battle against the anartha. If we have to figure ourselves, I talk for myself, we are still in the helpless defeat or struggle defeat stage. How can we move from this stage to at least struggle and success stage?
Yeah, by constantly praying to the Lord, by taking shelter of the Lord. We are actually in the struggle and defeat state, or many times we are struggle and success, because we are able to chant our 16 rounds without any difficulty. But at the same time, our mind is not completely fixed in the chanting of the Lord. So it is up to the observer, one who is always, the tendency of devotee is like, they feel I am not a devotee, or I am not very perfect in my devotion. So struggle is always there. We have to struggle for chanting our 16 rounds or reading Prabhupada books every day. So we are in between that defeat and success. Actually, it is success until you lose your hope. It is success only. Until the person stops trying to advance, it is a success. Even though the small difficulties may come and go, but finally it is definitely we are going back to Godhead. That is promised by Prabhupada himself.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Deepti Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, this is a follow-up question to Sureshwari Priya Mataji's. Prabhuji, I just wanted to confirm my understanding. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So, Prabhuji, when the Lord Brahma sleeps, my understanding is that all the jivas, they go in the unmanifested state into Garbhodakshai Vishnu, not Mahavishnu. And with the final devastation, when the final devastation happens, that is at the end of Brahma's life, then all the jivas go and merge into they remain in the unmanifested state into Karnodakshay Vishnu, who is the Mahavishnu, so that the creation can happen again. So, Prabhuji, is my understanding clear? Because I got a bit.
Yes, Mataji. It is.
Yeah.
See, when the okay, you can. When the Brahmanda is getting destroyed, the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he will not be inside the Brahmanda, because that itself has removed. The Lord will he will retrieve his incarnation. It is, the incarnation is over, the expansion is over. So there is only Karanodakshaya Vishnu, in which whose body the jivas will go. But if the Brahma is sleeping, then at that time Garbhodakshaya Vishnu's body, all the jivas will return. If this is also my understanding, if there is any changes, I will check and let you know, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, if there are no more questions, then in the next class, we will be continuing to Nectar of Instruction. And then finally, after that, there will be a test. I thank all the devotees for coming to the session and actively participating. Even though today it was a little late, I'm very sorry for that. We'll continue next Sunday at 11 o'clock. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Ki jai. Namacharya.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava.